There was a man named David who lived on the edge of a small town. He kept to himself, always moving quietly through the streets as if he didn't quite belong. No one knew much about him. He rarely spoke and lived in a small, run-down house at the very edge of town. But there was something about him that unsettled the locals. Something they couldn't quite place. It wasn't until the town began to experience strange disappearances that people started to put things together. Every night, someone would vanish, disappearing without a trace, leaving behind nothing but a strange, unexplainable chill in the air. And with each disappearance, the shadows seemed to grow darker, longer. Some said it was the work of a creature, a thing that only came out when the moon was high and the town was still. They called it the Lurker. The Lurker wasn't like the monsters you read about in books or see in movies. It didn't have glow or a giant mouth full of teeth. The Lurker was something far more unsettling. It was a figure in the shadows, it seemed to be fully there, yet always lurking in vision. As the nights grew, people began to notice the pattern. It started with a soft scraping sound on the window, as if something or someone gently tapping the glass. Knock, followed by a slow and deliberate bounce. But when there was nothing there. Cold air and the lingering, suffocating silence. One night, a curious Alex decided to get to the bottom of it. The rumors, and was tired. Armed with nothing but his to uncover the truth. As the air grew colder, the shadows the streetlights flickered, casting a dim glow over the empty road. Alex couldn't shake the feeling that he was being watched. And to see what lay beyond the mystery. Reached the edge of the town, he noticed something standing motionless in the distance. It was David. He was just standing there, staring into the darkness. "David?" Alex called out. David didn't respond. Instead, he slowly turned his head, and Alex could see the pale reflection of his eyes in the faint light. His face was expressionless, almost inhuman. Then, without warning, David took a step back into the shadows, disappearing like smoke in the night. Alex felt his heart race. He wasn't sure what he had just witnessed, but something told him it wasn't over. That night, Alex didn't sleep. He sat by his window, his phone ready to record anything that happened. The minutes stretched into hours, and the silence grew unbearable. But then, just as the clock struck midnight, he heard it, the tapping, slow and deliberate, coming from his door. He hesitated. Then, with a deep breath, he opened it. Standing there was nothing but darkness, thick and suffocating. The air felt colder, like something was waiting just beyond his vision. He stepped out cautiously, phone in hand, ready to record whatever happened next. It wasn't until he looked down that he saw it, a trail of muddy footprints leading away from his door, fading into the dark. That's when Alex realized. The Lurker wasn't just a creature that lived in the shadows. It was something far more terrifying. It was a thing that didn't need to be seen to be felt. It was always watching, always waiting, moving closer every time you thought you were safe. And Alex was never heard from again. The only trace he left behind was the faintest echo of scraping claws in the night, the sound of the Lurker, once again, drawing closer. The town remains quiet to this day. The shadows grow longer at night, and no one dares to wander too far after dark. But every so often, if you listen closely, you might hear it, a soft tapping from somewhere just beyond your door. The Lurker is always out there, always waiting.